Hey there, I'm Dexter Vallis. I am the CEO and managing consultant of a consultancy called Valma International. We are based in Mumbai, India. Those of you who have been following me in the posts I have put out on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, would know that I have been talking about the 6 books I have written during this ongoing lockdown, somewhere between the months of May and July. You see 5 of them behind me at the moment, and as you know, I have been making videos to talk about each book individually and reading a little bit from each book. So today too, I am here to read a little bit from one of these books, which is called, interestingly, The Code of the Road. Now, the Code of the Road is something about navigating life's traffic lanes. And being a citizen of the city of Mumbai and driving every day on the roads of Mumbai through heavily congested traffic roads as what they are, full of potholes and roadblocks and whatnot, is enough to drive you up the wall and bring to bear a lot of your emotional intelligence, and yet at the end of it all can be quite a frustrating experience. In Mumbai, as you know, we don't talk in terms of distance, in terms of miles or kilometers, we talk in terms of time, because that's really what's important. So even while I may want to tell somebody across town, which is like 20 kilometers across town, that I'd be there, I would normally say that I'll be there in about 2 hours, because that's the kind of time it could take. So thinking about all this made me wonder whether I could put it into a book and relate it to life in some way, because I couldn't help feeling that when I was driving, that life was so similar in many ways, right? What you think is short in terms of distance is long in terms of time. And everything you think you can do and know about life gets severely tested on the road of life. And therefore really comes to how much you can navigate yourself through all the hurdles and obstacles and challenges that life's road poses to you. So The Code of the Road is the book that I want to read to you a little bit. Today I'm going to talk to you about what's in the contents. Well, there are parts 1, 2 and 3. Then you have a summary. The first part talks about your car. The second part talks about the road. And part 3 talks about the code. So when we talk about the car, we are talking about 5 aspects, which is what's your car like? Your car makes a statement. Get to really know your car. Your car is your best friend, and hands on the wheel. Now, I do know that some of us will say, but I don't own a car. So what do I know about this? Well, we're really not talking about a car in that sense. We're talking about any vehicle that drives your life. Your whole life is your vehicle, in fact. Your life and your career is your car, right? So that's what we're really talking about. Now the road on which your vehicle runs, the road of life. So we're looking at 5 aspects there too, which is know your road. A road is an experience. Road maps matter. Roadblocks and you. And we have 5 lessons from Roadblocks, which would be very useful for you to look at when you read and figure out how are you using roadblocks to help you, rather than redirect you to some unknown place on an unknown road with challenges of those roads. Actually, you can use it to find new places when you have a roadblock, because it stops you from going where you wanted to go in that way and manner, and takes you to anyway through another route where you could probably discover more about life and more about that road simply because of the roadblock that was thrown in your way. And the 5th aspect of the road is get road ready. Yeah, so it's really about getting road ready before you get onto the road. And part 3 is about the code, which is the license to drive, road rules. And we have 12 lane laws, which have been kind of cryptically translated into 12 life laws. So when you take a look at that, you will actually find that there is something of interest to you to look at those lane laws and ask yourself, how do these apply in life? And navigating life's traffic lanes which bring those lane laws to life. The summary is you, the road and the code, and the afterword which I am interested in reading out to you is called Driving with Your Brakes On. So here we go. Here's a note from me, the author, which you would see as you open your book. And as I've said, this book is a product of my everyday life, driving around the heavily congested roads of my beloved city, Mumbai, in India. I would end my journeys feeling an overwhelming rush of mixed emotions and found it really hard to shrug off the strong connections to everyday life. As I reflected on what I could learn from these experiences, interesting relationships began to form and make strange sense to me. So as I put these thoughts and these notes and fill the pages, I realized this could become an interesting book. And here it finally is. Imagine you are in a big, busy, crowded city like Mumbai, and then you surely shall enjoy this ride. This book is one many of you would identify with immediately. The idea of this book, as I've said earlier, actually began working through my mind when driving my car some years ago. I live in an apartment housing society in Mumbai where I own 2 covered slots for our 2 cars. These covered slots are right under our building at the ground level. The one right in front as you enter the main gate is one of ours. It means that getting out needs me to back the car through the gate and then carefully turn into the narrow street. Yet almost always I find that nobody pays any heed to the car backing out, and pedestrians too keep scampering around the moving car. Or other cars, scooters, motorcycles and even 3-wheel auto rickshaws speed up to beat my backing car. Despite my consternation and accompanying irritation, I found this ironically close to life. When you are blindsided and trying to get into the flowing stream of life, when you will find that most of the time, and there are wonderful exceptions to this, you find people almost single-mindedly, and I'm tempted to say even selfishly, are busy pursuing their own agenda, even if it thwarts yours, for no competitive reason, just because they feel it's their right to do so. And you are expected to establish your own rights to claim your space. Then, trying to join the main stream of traffic from the side road that I am emerging from, almost no one wishes to give way or slow down or even be careful not to brush past my car. More than that, I have noticed almost on every occasion that the traffic seems to increase voluminously when I reach that point, jamming me back onto the shoulder of my bylane. I have often complained about this to my wife, who sees the humor in it, much to my chagrin. I have remarked on more than one occasion that the road was a reflection of life, sending hordes of competitors or unfavorable circumstances to swarm all over me at the very point of launching myself or my talents to the business streaming past my very nose. So it persists even when driving through traffic, navigating snarls, swerving to avoid rash lane cutters, getting bumped by smaller vehicles like bicycles, scooters and pedestrians, blindly rushing across the road, risking life and limb. I realized that the road was clearly and vividly pronouncing life lessons to me. It was saying that I had to live and navigate my life not just by my own driving competences, but by the written and unwritten, the implicit and the explicit rules which govern the road and those who dare to travel them, called the code of the road. So it begins with your car, as I said, part 1, and goes on to part 2, which talks about the road, and we have part 3, which is, naturally you know this, it's called the code. So, the code of the road. And we have, as I said, 12 lane laws of life, which we have a nice look at. I have put them down as 12 life laws as well, cryptic translation of the lane law into life laws. And I would like you to read the book to find out more about them, but believe me, they are really useful. And I have made space in the book for you to put down how do you relate that lane law and life law to your life in some specific way, because only then it will make some sense to you, right? We don't want it to be just a general sense. I'd like it to be something that is of specific sense to you. Well, let me leave you with the afterword of this book so that it encourages you to buy the book and read it. So this is interestingly named Driving with Your Brakes On. Here goes. After reading this book, you may like to check how much drag you carry along. You may be driving with your brakes on. Brakes of gradual growing incompetence, insulation from the realities of the road, diminishing eyesight and vision of what's in front of you and of the road ahead, poor anticipation of change, inaccurate estimation and lagged response time to the suddenness of the road. Or maybe you had agreed to tow someone else's broken down car and forgot to unhitch it. Or perhaps you were on a steep, slippery slope of life going downward with alarming speed, and now you still have your foot frozen to the brake. Driving your car on the road of life must bring you joy. Success will follow only if you are licensed to drive and enjoy the ride. It's not about white-knuckle gripping of the wheel, staring grim-faced through the windshield, tuning down the music, stopping the conversations and the laughter of your passengers, and honking loudly at those who cross your path on your glory road. Try unfastening your seatbelt of burdens and responsibilities. Step out of the car and create some distance to detach your weary spirit and take a deep breath. Splash cool water on your life-beaten mind. Stretch the aching muscles, stiffness and tensions out of your limbs of action and performance. Smile to ease the creases of concern from your furrowed brow. Laugh out loud to find your voice again. Sing a song that you've loved as a child when you imagined what life should be. Now look for a shining, eager face in your passenger seat and teach that someone to drive with the code of their road. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope you decide to buy this book and read it and put it to work in your life with your very own code of your road. Thanks again. See you soon when I talk about another book, which is At the Steering Wheel of Life. See you soon.